The real reason Sylvanas returned. It's bigger than we thought. Yeah, that's what she said. So here we go. We're getting into some Sylvanas stuff here. Obviously, I think everyone's seen the cinematic now. After the big kill, Sylvanas shows up, shoots her little arrow, gives her little sexual walk monologue, and off goes Zalateth, into the ground. And then we see Sylvanas. Looks like she returns to the mall. What's Sylvanas doing down there? It seems like Sylvanas prepping everything. She's really like the preparer of the last Titan expansion right now, talking about Titan influence in the Shadowlands and everything else. But it seems like there's more to it than even that. Let's see what's going on here with Sylvanas and the Shadowlands lore and everything. Yeah, it's coming back, boys, and everything else going on in the game right here from Doran.
So we've all seen that Sylvanas' return had a little clutch moment and an emotional moment with her family, and while it is indicated that she's going to be a relevant character for the Forsaken and Quotalas based on everything we know, it does appear that her actual role is going to be a lot more important than we initially believed. She has crazy insider information that she's getting to the bottom of in the Shadowlands Titan conspiracy, and it's likely that we're going to see a lot more of her, especially now as we know that Zelda had reached the World Soul, which will likely trigger the Titan return. As the Titans return in a desperate attempt to salvage everything, it's likely that their entire Shadowlands mechanism is going to completely collapse, and that is where Sylvanas will come in. So why did Sylvanas truly return? What is her main goal, and what is she really planning? With Midnight out, there is so much to catch up to,
questions.
And Rested XP currently has the most up-to-date and
Get your Rested
robust
XP.
leveling.
Yeah, I mean, Sylvanas being in the Shadowlands, clearly we've discovered that Shadowlands shit is not the true afterlife. So nobody's soul has been able to rest, basically, since this shit was created. So what happens now if we destroy the Titan afterlife? What's the real afterlife look like? Now those are questions that we don't know the answer to anymore. We thought we knew what the afterlife looked like in WoW, but truly we don't.
So as we can expect it, as they had foreshadowed for the past years, Sylvanas had returned, but in my opinion, I wasn't expecting her to return to be this big right out of the gate. It does appear that they're really foreshadowing her as a very important character in the entire saga. Throughout the years, I mean, we did get a few hints of Sylvanas. We had that one vision of her talking to the Forsaken, and we recently had that visit in the Maw at the end of the War Within, where we talked to her, we discovered Nathanos. Personally, I was expecting in the near future something...
This fucking simp, where is he? Where is the Thanos? Bitch still fucking around in the Maw? Man, let him be a cautionary tale to all simps. Guy gets freaking executed by the Night Warrior, whatever the fuck was going on at that time. Sent to the Maw to try to see Sylvanas. Turns out Sylvanas is hanging out with the jailer. I completely forgot about him. Nice.
Similar to that questline, just related to Quotalas, and then more importance later down the line, but looks like they just started out with her major role right at the gate. What a lot of people miss though, is that she appears to be working on something very, very significant for the main story. This isn't just kind of a Blood Elven reunion type scene where she returns to her people and then just tags on as like a random character. They really seem to be building her up to do more. So, of course, one of the big questions is whether she's going to return as the leader of the Forsaken, and that, at this point, is actually surprisingly difficult to answer. I mean, just a few months ago, I wouldn't have imagined that it ever happened, but with Midnight, we've learned that there are still Sylvanas loyalists out there, and her people didn't abandon her as much as we initially thought.
Yeah, I think the Forsaken have forgiven her for the most part. I mean, yes, there's going to be people that are still, and they have that, like, council right now of the Forsaken, and how that's all working. The one thing that I think would be interesting is if Sylvanas did come back and she sees, this council Forsaken now and how they have basically like a leadership group made up of 5 different people, how the hell would she react to Callia Menethil? Because she killed her. And I don't think she knows that she was ever resurrected. She's like undead, born by the light now. So how would she feel about that? Because we know how Sylvanas feels about Menethils, but that was old Sylvanas. Now we got, post soul re-given back to her by the jailer Sylvanas. So I don't know how that reaction would work. What happened to him? What happened to the Thanos? He just disappeared. Well, he was supposed to be reunited with Sylvanas in the Maw. His intention was to be killed and then sent back, sent to the afterlife to be reunited with Sylvanas. But he was a simp-ass bitch, and Sylvanas basically forgot about him for the entirety of the expansion. She's back to pick out her own human buddy, maybe. I think we killed him in the pre-patch, if I remember right. Barely remember. He died. Yeah, he gets killed by a Tyrande. So he got killed by Tyrande, but again, it was like he knew he was going to get killed by her. He goes to the afterlife, but we forget about him. Post 9/11 Sylvanas, basically. So he's ascended the throne of the king of cucks. Yes, basically. Sylvanas, though, yeah, I don't know how she would react to how undead people are now. Like, what goes on there? How does she given a leadership role again? Does she want a leadership role? She probably doesn't. She probably doesn't.
As much as we initially thought. I mean, originally Sylvanas was much more than a leader. She was something like a mother to all the Forsaken. She was like worshipped by them. I mean, literally every Forsaken you talk to mentioned the Dark Lady, and then when she did what she did in BFA and Shadowlands, the undead became disillusioned by her, but it might not be as bad as we originally thought. As I just mentioned, in Dragonfight we got that bit of a throwback in her vision where she appeared and did the entire speech that even during the manipulation of the jailer, she did genuinely care for the Forsaken, and now that manipulation is actually going to clear out, so we are going to get a completely different context. However, since she was gone in the Shadowlands and she was sentenced to her prison in the Maw, we had a time skip and a whole lot of things happened, and in her stead, the Undead Council was formed and
there she is. I mean, this is what I'm talking about, man. That model. I mean, I can't help myself every time I see her. But Callie and Menethil being a leader of, or one of the leaders of the undead, how the hell does that work? How does Sylvanas feel about that? Like I said, Sylvanas, the last time she saw Kalia was in, I think it was Arathi Basin, where they had the meeting between the, basically the undead and their living counterparts, their living relatives. And then Sylvanas ends up taking a fucking arrow out and shooting Kalia because she thought she was trying to convert over the undead to the Alliance or something. So she died. And that was the last time. So Sylvanas doesn't know she was resurrected.
Forsaken kind of moved on. I mean,
Pre-watched?
entire new identity, no
I fucking know the lore. Okay, I didn't pre-watch this shit. Enough. Fucking pre-watched allegations. Unbelievable.
longer being
It's like 80% of my comments in my comment section now are, oh yeah, good pre-watch, Sam. What the fuck? Unreal. I get no credit for knowing this shit anymore.
the Forsaken, which is kind of a black pill when you think about it. I mean, they're just undead lord on people now, and they kind of moved out of that entire edgy Forsaken Sylvanas leads us in the dark thing they had going on for the first decade. So in that sense, I don't think Sylvanas is ever coming back as the sole ruler of the Forsaken, as the Dark Lady and their mother, but there is a possibility of her coming back as how Thrall kind of came back. I mean, Thrall was in a way the father of the modern Horde. I mean, he's literally single-handedly responsible for even moving the orcs to Kalimdor and creating the Horde.
But Thrall basically had like a mind break moment where he killed Garrosh and he felt guilty about it, and then he just fucking left. He pussed out. I mean, let's be honest, Thrall pussed out. He did. He like abandoned the Horde completely. He fucking killed their leader and left him leaderless essentially, and went off to Nagrand so he could jerk off and have kids and shit, and you know, cry about how he can't control the elements anymore. That's like a good summary of Thrall's story up to that point. Sylvanas is different though, because like somebody said in the chat, I just saw it. She basically had her soul like broken. Yes, right there, Tech Tim said it in the chat. Didn't they imply in Shadowlands the reason Sylvanas was so bad was because the jailer took her soul? Yes, he had a fragment of her soul. So he took like the good part of her soul out. Kind of like Uther with his split soul, you know, when Frostmourne stabbed him, they supposedly his soul split, one went one way, one with the other. So yeah, Sylvanas now is supposed to be more moral. She's supposed to have her soul back, you know, be a little bit more touchy-feely, I guess. So maybe she won't hate Kalia when she sees her again. That could be a thing, too. Unlike Thrall, who didn't have his soul split, right? He just bitched out. Totally bitched out.
But he did leave the role, and he was gone for a few years, and then he returned. He's back now, he's around, but he isn't really the main leader.
She lost it when she was stabbed by Arthas. Yes, the same way that Uther did. The same description that we have of Uther, where part of his soul went into Frostmourne and part of it went to the afterlife. His soul got split, which is why the angel form of Uther was kind of doing some fucked up shit. Basically, he didn't have a part of his soul was missing. Same with Sylvanas.
The main figure. I think depending on what happens with Sylvanas, something like that could be happening. However, just how the Forsaken took over their Lordaeron identity, I could see Sylvanas returning to Quel'Thalas, as before the entire Forsaken ordeal, she was a Ranger General and one of the lead High Elven people. I could see her creating a role where she returns to Quel'Thalas and the Forsaken in some sort of a strange symbiosis. However, the real thing I want to discuss in this video is what is her actual plan, because based on what they introduced, the return of Sylvanas is actually a lot more important than her just being some new character figure for the High Elves and the Forsaken. Looks like she's going to play a really important role in the main storyline. You already know this, so I'm not going to repeat myself a million times, but the Shadowlands are a lie. She was the personal assistant of the jailer. Now she was sending the souls to them all, and she realized the scam firsthand.
I wonder too if Anduin's gonna like vouch for her, right? Because he was in the mall for a while with her too, right? They were there together, dicking around, doing guys as well. I don't know, maybe something, but they were there. So Anduin now he obviously came back from the mall. When Sylvanas does come back, if people don't trust her, he might vouch for her and say, you know, she's a good person. How many kids does Thrall have? 2. He has 2. Yeah, I should look up their names. I forgot what their names are. Durak and Rezi. Both of whom are alive and part of the current storyline. Yeah, I think they're still out there with Agra, wherever she's at. You know, so he's got 2 kids. They did Arthas dirty in Shadowlands. They sure did. They sure did. Yeah, that was the most annoying part of Shadowlands, how they turned Arthas into a fucking wisp. Bullshit.
Realized the scam firsthand. She probably has the most insider information knowledge of everyone that we know, and she realized that the real afterlife exists and that the Shadowlands are too ordered, implying that they were created by the Titans, which pretty much plays into the entire World Soul saga and the Titan prison. The real question is, why did she return right now and not a year before or later? And it's not just to farm aura, to come in to save us against Xal'atath in a clutch situation. I think she realized that the entire Void invasion of Azeroth, Xal'atath, Old Gods, Titans returning, and the Shadowlands is actually all connected.
It's all connected.
They're all just segments of the exact same conspiracy that is holding us over Azeroth, and she realized that in order to figure out the Shadowlands, she also has to deal with Xal'atath, because Xal'atath is also completely aware of this matter. Now, in the cinematic, she did say that she hasn't returned to the world of the living just yet, and she's still serving her sentence, but she did promise to get to the bottom of the Shadowlands, and I think her return is going to come in the most important moment, which is really going to be the true culmination of this whole saga, and that is going to be the midnight finale.
Yeah, all this Shadowlands lore is, sadly, I don't know, maybe it's good. Maybe they're going to try to, maybe Metzen's going to try to fix it. I'm sure Metzen came in, saw Shadowlands, and was like, what the fuck? Who did this shit? What's going on here? You guys really fucked this game up. Yeah, so there might be some Shadowlands retconning going. There already has been a little bit of it with the first ones and all that other shit, that stupid-ass lore. So they're trying to fix some of it. And by the way, like the big rumor out there, I got a video all about it. Shadowlands Shadowlands remix might be the next remix event we get. And it would make a lot of sense because all that lore is going to become relevant again. And we got to remember, remix events are lore events. They are actually part of the lore. It's a bronze dragonflight thing, infinite dragonflight thing. We're going back into these timelines to do shit. It's not just like a leveling event. These are actually things that are happening in the lore of the game. So us going back to Shadowlands to kind of rediscover some shit, maybe figure things out the correct way, retconned will help us figure out what's going to happen in the Last Titan. So I really do believe, and there's been hints out there, data mine, that Shadowlands Remix is our next remix event. Which would also be kind of cool because, yeah, I mean, given the fact that Shadowlands had its issues, it did have really cool fucking gear and shit. So maybe getting some of that stuff would be fun. We'll see. And then, hey, maybe we get a new version of Torghast. You know, maybe get more of that. Call it Morghast. Yeah, imagine that as a remix feature. Morghast. Do more Torghast. I hope not. But yeah, it seems like that's going to be the next remix event.
Finale. Short of the actual finale of the saga, the midnight finale is set out to be huge, as it's going to reveal the return of the Titans and pretty much everything else. By the time the last Titan is announced, I think we are going to have a pretty good grasp on everything that is going on. Right now, based on data mine information and the current progression that we know, and it's going to be like 12.1 is going to just very likely be Amani stuff. After that, once we're finished, we're going to have BlizzCon on September, and that will announce the last Titan, and very likely 12.2. So it was just confirmed in 12.0.5 that Zeltet's invasion is about to begin, and that while we think we defeated her, she actually accomplished her plan, and that was to use the Darkwell to channel herself and her Void army into the core of the planet, the World Soul of Azeroth, and that is where the real stuff is going to happen. I mean, we can only really speculate what at this point. We don't have concrete information, but it's likely that this event will trigger the return of the Titans, potentially Sergeras, potentially the Zod, and a whole lot of other really big
too,
things.
man.
I'm guessing
he's coming back.
Amongst these events, the return of Sylvanas will also happen. Almost certainly, the coming of the Titans is going to reveal what they hid down to the Shadowlands, especially as we go further into Northrend and the Frozen Throne, which we know is the #1 Shadowlands spot on Azeroth. Here, I think Sylvanas will play a really...
Yeah, that's right. I don't know why I didn't even make that connection. We know we're going back to Northrend. And where the hell did we ascend into the Shadowlands from? It was the top of Icecrown Citadel. So again, another link between Shadowlands becoming relevant again, Northrend, Titan shit, it's all connected.
Big role. So my guess right now is that Sylvanas will actually be a big and important character for the whole saga. She'll probably show up once again in Midnight Finale when all these big things happen, but it seems like they're going to have her be related to the Frozen Throne and all like the last Titan stuff. This could involve the Atreus and the entire Shadowlands mechanism collapsing, which is going to be huge, as we're going to probably break Ardenweald, learn what is the true connection to the Emerald Dream, the World Trees, and pretty much everything we currently know.
Not to mention, Ardenweald had connections to, God, what the fuck's her name? Why can't I remember right now? The Knight, Elune. Yeah, Elune. Big Elune lore, which has like been hinted at that we could get more Elune lore and all that. It hasn't happened. And you got Anshe, who is the Tauren, you know, sun goddess, all that stuff. Like, all that shit could become relevant again if you go back into Shadowlands and do it right. Like, actually, dive into the lore correctly and not make up a bunch of weird shit that basically destroys all the old lore.
So the real deal is that Sylvanas isn't just returning as like a major character, just like nostalgia baiting or a figure for the High Elves and the Forsaken, but she seems to actually be in on the entire main story. Now, after that happens, we might see something happening, and it's possible that she could play a role in 12.1.7, which indicates something happening with the Forsaken, but I think the true potential of Sylvanas in this saga is only going to come to fruition in The Last Titan, and this entire mechanism breaking and the conspiracy finally being over. Thanks for watching. Check out why the players are so dissatisfied with this Elven reunion by clicking on the screen, and subscribe to my brand new Witcher lore channel by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time.
Yeah, overall, I think Sylvanas, I mean, it's not that I think Sylvanas is coming back. We all know that now, based on the cinematic. She's coming back. She's going to be relevant again. She is definitely a Last Titan lore character more than she's going to be a Midnight lore character for now, and she might show up at the end of Midnight to kind of, pull us into The Last Titan, or she won't show up until we're actually in The Last Titan. But we're going to find out a lot about this shit. I think Shadowlands Remix is happening. I think that's, the more I hear about it, the more I'm like, yeah, this is going to happen. So buckle up for that one. And then we're going to head into The Last Titan. We're going to get shit about that at BlizzCon for sure. That's going to be the big retail announcement. They're obviously going to announce Classic Plus too. So those things are going to happen, and we'll get ready as we head into the final chapter of the World Soul Saga. Overall, though, a nice video from Doran.